The execution journey that I started with Humana included a great partnership with BTS. The very first program that we launched was a simulation with the executive team where we focused on learning how to manage the business from end to end. So it was a collaborative learning period which I think broke through a lot of the resistance to learning and was a testament to the power of succession management and BTS's simulation. Well, getting buy-in wasn't easy, but I recall the conversation I had with the CEO where I told him, you know, we needed to get leaders involved and emotionally engaged in the strategy. And I said, you know, think of it as going on a flight simulator with steroids. And he kind of chuckled and said, okay, let's give it a try. But I did have a couple senior executives who tried to shut it down a month before we were going to launch. And the CEO was clever enough to say, look, I'm going to walk through it, and if I think it's good enough, we're all going to go through it together. And we did. Fortunately, after the first hour, they started calling their assistants and clearing their calendars because they were really hooked. There were a lot of challenges and barriers in terms of getting the buy-in across the business. And one of the things that I really valued about BTS is they had the ability to come in and talk business, the nature of our business directly to our business leaders, engage them and in a professional way, and turn those conversations into a strategy session that led to the simulation. So I think there are challenges, but the whole front-end process of the simulation turned out to be useful in helping think through how we were going to approach our business. And I thought that was an effective way of dealing with some of the challenges. The initial simulation was simply modeling our business. And so it was creating teams that would compete to try and improve business outcomes over a 3-year process. That initial session was so successful that I got calls afterwards from business leaders saying, you know, that was a great experience. And they offered suggestions of what if we added some strategic aspects like consumerism to the model. And after running the second session, I thought we sort of had run out of ideas, but they kept calling, and before we knew it, we had run 5 iterations of the model. The results were tremendous. We did an ROI on the program, and I recall having a consultant come and ask me, what does it cost to do this? And after I mentioned the costs, the consultant said, I can't believe it's that small, because what we were seeing were significant changes in behavior, but we also asked each individual to outline a project that they would take their learning and apply it in the business. And one of the things that happened was that many of the projects turned out to produce hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in savings. And so once we went through that ROI process, there was no problem in justifying the expense in the future because it was obvious that we were getting huge returns for the investment. The reason I chose experiential learning is I was faced with a new company who had resistance to any kind of leadership development program. They really rejected any kind of professor from the university coming and talking to them. And they frankly didn't believe they needed leadership development. So I had to find a way to break through, and I found that using simulations, and BTS in particular through the technique that they had, was a very powerful, engaging way to get the leaders excited, to let them have fun as they learned. They really didn't even see it as a learning session, and it turned out that it really allowed them to see the potential of creating a whole new kind of learning experience which really launched our leadership development program.